Capitalist Death Parade! Capitalist Death Parade! Capitalist Death Parade! Welcome to the Capitalist Death Parade with your hosts Joy Marie Mann and Josh Radio Hedge, a podcast where we discuss the dystopian hellscape of capitalism that we call home. Hey everybody, Josh Radio Hedge here.
And Joy Marie Mann.
Yeah, we're back.
We is back, y'all. So what song are we starting it off with today? You know, we should actually do songs at the end so then people have already sat through our show and we're not like, they're not like, fuck, I can't. I'm turning this off.
I just can't. Yeah.
Yeah, let's come up with one towards the end. Whatever we're inspired to be singing.
We might switch it to the musical closer moving forward because we've been getting lots of complaints of people's windows shattering and their dogs running away. So
yes, exactly. I mean, I literally have a deaf dog, literally, and he was howling. He was like, "No, mommy, shut the fuck up." Yeah, seriously. He's like, no. I thought I was fully deaf. Now I know I have at least partial hearing and stop.
Yeah, your dog can at least pick up bad notes. So
yeah, exactly. It probably sounds like screeching. Oh, I'm sorry, Mr. Furley. It's not funny. So what we have some crazy ass news as usual. It's never a dull moment when you talk about all things political, social, things like that. It's always fun times. So tonight we are kicking it off with I wanted to talk about how Kamala announced that she is pro border wall. So there are tons of videos of her back in 2019, 2016, during her vice presidency, saying things like this, that Trump, it's a vanity issue, it's un-American, it's racist. And she just came out and said, yeah, I want a border wall too. So, there are different ways we can take this. There can be, there is a group called Republicans for Kamala, which is hilarious because they obviously aren't going to Democrat. So they do see some similarities in her, which should speak volumes to people. So it could be, I'm just playing devil's advocate. It could be her just saying, well, I'm going to try and get more people over who don't want this, that, and the other. I don't think it's that, because all of the shit libs are like, no border wall. And now they're like, yes, queen, yes, border wall, yes. But it's going to be like, have Black Lives Matter on it and be rainbow and it's all good. So it's not the same kind of border wall. It's different. So there's that. And then there's also, the fact that she is going to be debating Trump shortly, in like a week and a half or so. And that is going to be brought up at the debate. No question. That's the thing he talks about the most. So she is going to have two options. She is going to have to either say is, yes, I did come out and say, I also want a wall, or she is going to completely lie, even though we have the receipts that she said it. She is going to completely lie and say, oh no, that's inhumane, that's racist, blah, 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 even though we have tangibles showing that she did say that.
No, she won't. That's definitely not happening. And you're forgetting option number 3, which is the most likely option, which is the pivot tap dance. Everyone loves the pivot tap dance.
Oh, yeah.
Don't actually answer the question, talk about something else entirely. Then if they come back and ask you a follow-up, once again, don't acknowledge the question, talk about something else entirely. That's the most likely response.
Yep. Cackle, cackle, cackle. Well, here's the problem, you guys. The problem is that people of color are having a trouble finding jobs and getting into the country. And we need to understand that everyone, these people are having problems. That's essentially what it's going to be.
Honestly, the problem that I'm having is now apparently we're the same freaking uniparty as the Republicans on immigration. So when Donald Trump's up there and he's like, "Oh, hey, they're sending their worst people to come and do all the awful things to you," and she's like, "Yep," that's her new position. Is yep. All that stuff that Trump told you that was super racist, super xenophobic, that I said was un-American just 4 years ago, I'm now sending. She promised hundreds of millions of dollars to build what she called a vanity project, un-American stunt.
Yeah, absolutely. And, the difference she's going to point out is that she is going to get a huge Yas Queen moment when she says, they are not to call Mexicans R words and say they SA people and they bring in drugs and stuff like that. That's racist. And that's what she's going to say. And people are going to be like, girl boss, girl boss. But what she's not going to say is, I still don't want them in here. Because if you remember in 2019, when she was on the campaign stage, and they asked her, what do you say to immigrants? And she said, don't come. Do
not come. Yep.
So it's like, okay, well, she already told us who the fuck she was. So I don't know why people are surprised. But it's also, every year there's something. There's every election. It's if you don't vote for blue, you don't support XYZ. And in 2019, it was, if you don't vote for Biden, you don't care about kids in cages. Well, there's more kids in cages than ever in the American history. And now our current VP and potential president is saying she wants a border wall, which is what she ran against. So it's going to be interesting. Any way she plays this off is going to be an epic fail. She also has not done a single interview since announcing, like, over a month ago. Not a single interview.
I literally saw Quentin Tarantino on Bill Maher saying, "Don't do it, Kamala. Don't do the interview because you just we want to run on vibes. We're going to win." And so it's like, why would you be opposed to questioning our leaders? How did we hit this point?
Because what happened was Joe went on, on interviews. And then people realized finally that his brain was fucking broken. Yep. And not that I'm saying she is having the same, she's probably drunk all the time, but that's a different story. She sounds a little tipsy a lot, just like Pelosi. But
hey, she has a speech impediment. I don't know. We're just going to use the same excuse we used for Biden, right?
Yeah.
Hey.
Hey, I'm disabled. I can be ableist. It doesn't fucking matter. Like, I can say whatever the fuck I want. Don't come at me, people. Don't come at me. It's going to be crazy to watch. It's going to be, it's going to be a clusterfuck regardless of what happens. I still do not think she will win. I foresee something very much as though she may get the popular vote and lose, like 2016, and then it'll be you are sexist like times a bajillion. It'll be what we dealt with in 2016. Personally, I just want her to win my state so I don't have to listen to people in my life being like, you didn't vote for her.
What's the but what do we do if we are like old school Democrats who still believe in concepts of being like for peace, that there should be a path to immigration, that I don't know, like we shouldn't build a border wall. I want to mention this. This is important. It never gets brought up. The human race is like for 98% of its existence was a migratory species. Okay. Then a bunch of white colonialist motherfuckers showed up and came to these shores, and they divvied up all the land as they saw fit. Now, the truth is, what used to be Mexico is now Texas, is now California, is now multiple states at our southern part of our nation. We stole that land. And
Sure.
so this land is their land. It should be their right, if they choose, to migrate, to do labor, or to do whatever they want, because it's their land.
And
What right do
also,
we have to build
why?
$100 million walls to keep them out of it?
And what's one of the reasons that people always try to come to our country? One of them is because we keep bombing the fuck out of theirs.
Or sanctioning them into
sanctioning them,
poverty.
or doing coups and trying to overhaul their elections, even though they actually were democratic, unlike ours. They come here, and the irony is that they would feel safer in our country, even though we are the ones that are making their lives, under, being unsafe because of all our weapons and our money going into these things. But they still feel safer here because they know that we have all that ammo and everything, but nobody's going to take us on. They're safer here because we're, as Claire Daly says, the United States is the world's bully. That is what we are. People are going to feel safer here than anywhere else because nobody's stepping to us.
Yep. I mean, yeah, because we literally are a gun to the world's head at all times, and it sucks because I don't want to be in that kind of a relationship with my neighbors. I would like to remind everyone, we are a human race. On this planet, we are all earthlings. We are all a part of this globe. This whole invisible line bullshit is what has brought us to this madness. My God, I hate nationalism with a passion. I wish I could express it in song, but I'm not allowed to till the end of the segment.
You wanted to say a few words about Kamala as well.
Yes. Okay, so everybody right now is pissed, rightfully so, that Kamala has now gone full xenophobe and is fully for hundreds of millions on a border wall. I'm pissed because of Thursday still. I can't get over her speech at the DNC. So I want to say a couple weeks ago, Joy, you kind of nailed me. You were like, oh, hey, you're going to end up voting for Kamala before this is over. And I want you to know I had no intention of voting for her, but I had still been holding on to this hope that she was going to come forward, even if it was a complete lie, and say that she was for a weapons embargo, or at the very least call for some kind of conditions on military aid, bare minimum. And I was like, okay, that'll at least be good for the conversation. The global conversation needs America acknowledging that there's a problem instead of pretending that nothing is wrong. And I was at least willing to believe that there was hope still. Well, anyways, Kamala took care of all that for me in a brief instant when she said these words on the DNC stage. She said, "We will have the most lethal fighting force in the world." I can't believe how quick my little bubble was popped and my little dream of what was possible was ended. The speed with which I hit this brick wall called the reality of Kamala was nightmarish. And I wasn't surprised. I knew she's all for warfare. I knew she was all about backing the military-industrial complex. But the thing that really broke my heart is that she won't even hide it anymore. Every Democrat presidential candidate in my life has at least had the foresight to lie to my freaking face and pretend they care about my needs as a voter. But she's not feeling that. She's done. Like you said, girl boss. She's done worrying about what you want.
That's the beauty of having, identity politics. That's the beauty of it. Hillary never had to accept accountability for anything because she was a woman and we were all fucking sexist.
Yeah. And by the way, Russia stole that election. Know because 4 years later, we were all like, can you believe that this Trump guy can't accept that he lost an election?
Yeah. I mean, who does that? Seriously.
Who does that?
Has he done, he wrote a book called What Happened, right? And he
Oh,
did
no,
an
no, wait.
entire tour.
That was Hillary. That was Hillary that wrote that awful book.
I know. I'm joking.
No, I know. It's hilarious.
It's, you know, she still talks about that shit. It's like, girl, you lost because you suck. Okay. So, which she has COVID really bad right now. So R.I.P. Hillary, R.I.P. Rest in piss. But anyway, so
She has COVID? Hillary does?
yeah, and we're gonna have to go back and bleep that word out.
Oh, crud. I didn't know that we couldn't even say that word.
Yeah, that's a no.
Oh my gosh.
Because it's not medical term or anything. So
What's the medical term that we're allowed to use to describe the actual news that's happening?
C-19 is what I've said. This is how absurd things are. Like,
Yeah,
I'm not kidding you. I've been doing this shit for almost 8 years, and I have never once censored myself until the past few months.
Yeah.
It's fucking madness, and we'll be getting to that as well. But, you know, this is the thing that drives me fucking mad. Witnessing all of this going on for the past almost 11 months. And we as a country, for the first time in many of our lifetimes, are out in the streets every fucking day for almost 11 months. They are still not listening to us. The entire world is in the streets every fucking day for almost 11 months. They still aren't listening to us. And not only are they not listening to us, they are coming out and saying, we will have the most lethal. So it's not just like we're ignoring you. We are literally spitting in your face, and we are telling you, not only do we not give a fuck what you say, we are going to push it even further, and you're going to shut the fuck up and take it.
It's like, oh, you wanted peace? Well, guess what? Not only will there not be peace, and not only are you going to vote for the lesser of two evils, you're going to do it with joy. You're going to do it with exuberance. You're going to cheer till your throat hurts. I mean, what Kamala's doing here, and this is what's the core of it for me, she is changing the conversation from Dems voting reluctantly for the lesser of two evils, which has been the conversation now for months. And now Dems are voting triumphantly for the evil of two evils. It's not even lesser anymore, and we're cheering for it now. Like, DNC has desensitized their own voters beyond simply justifying war, which is what we were already in. But now we're giving genocide a standing ovation. And Kamala is playing her role in it.
I'm speaking.
It's like, I'm sorry you have family members getting genocided, but I'm speaking.
And the thing is, when you watch a clip, one of my girlfriends thought that clip was her talking to protesting Trump supporters. Because she said, you know what, if you're going to vote for Trump, just go ahead, but I'm speaking. So the way the media clipped it, it looked like she was talking to Trump supporters. And I was like, no, girlfriend, those were Palestinian women who are losing their family members. She had no idea. And she wasn't the only person that thought that. So none of these things are by mistake. They're all by design.
Yeah. And she's literally smearing people begging for their families' lives. Oh, you must be a Trump supporter. What are you talking about? No. Like, if you know what? If you were the one up here on stage and you were actually fighting for the Palestinians' rights to exist, and then somebody came along and they were like, they don't have a right to exist, then they would be a Trump supporter, because you would now they'd be giving a message opposed to you that's with where Trump's at. But that's not the case. You are with the genocide. And not only with it, you're also with the gaslighting of everyone else who's begging you to stop. And you're like, stop what?
Right, exactly. And these are people within her party. These are delegates. These are delegates who are registered Democrats. She's supposed to represent them. Well, actually, as VP, she's supposed to represent us all.
Well,
but
she's representing them to an early grave.
Yes. And the biggest thing people need to get in their fucking heads, Democrats and Republicans have the same fucking donors. The same donors. Literally the fucking same donors.
You saw the news today that AIPAC has now, just this year, 2024, donated over $100 million in American elections this year. 100 million. Yeah.
And then they came out and said something like, it was like 94% of who they donate to are elected.
Yep.
So, I mean, how is that democratic? They are a foreign entity. We should not even be allowed to take that fucking money.
Yeah. It should be a crime. It should literally be a crime to be able to bribe your way into the political system, a foreign nation, no less, to bribe their way into our
political system. Arabia did it, they would be in prison.
Dude, if Russia did it, imagine if RIPAC or whatever you want to call it, like some Russian organization wants to use our awesome super Swiss cheese hole open election laws to just take endless bribery from Russians. I'm sure that'd go over great. It's like, why are we allowing our system to be this openly corruptible? It doesn't make sense.
Well, the Dems have it great in so many ways. And we learned this firsthand in 2016. If they win, yes, Queen. If they lose, it is so epic for fundraising. And it's also epic to be able to blame the boogeyman for every fucking thing that ever happens.
Yeah. Honestly, you were saying that you thought Kamala is going to end up losing this. Up and until a few days ago, I thought she was about to coast to a win. Because again, you compare the two. Look, what's Donald Trump's arguments on Kamala? Oh, they're just absolute rehashed 1950s style racist, misogynist BS.
Right.
Come at her for real reasons, because all the reasons that most people would be against Kamala for are things that Trump actually supports. Hence the reason that he once donated thousands of dollars to her previous AG campaign.
Right.
But
which she
by the way,
never
I don't know if I told you that, but in there's a couple of states that have been doing a campaign billboard that is just an enormous blow up of that check from Donald Trump to Kamala Harris.
You told me. That's fucking epic.
It's wild.
It's fucking epic.
I love the billboard because it's like, wait a minute, who is this for and who is this against? I can't tell.
I know. That's what I said when you told me. I'm like, wait, okay, let me think about this. Was this who is it? Because if it's a Republican posting it, they're saying our candidate donated to this woman we hate. Or if it's a Democrat posting it, they're saying she took money from the person we hate. So my guess is it's probably just an anarchist.
Well, I love it. Whoever posted it.
Yeah, whoever did, yes, Queen. Whoever did. But the one thing I was talking about the other day is Trump is not in power, but he has so much more power over these people. Netanyahu has so much power. Right now, he has more power than anyone in the fucking universe. And we gave that to him. He is the epitome of a fascist, right-wing, racist psychopath. And people say those things about Trump. That does not mean they're not true. But when you look at it this way, one has zero power. One is just literally a dude. He's nothing. He's nothing. He hasn't been in office for years. He's nothing. One of them is committing a fucking genocide and being welcomed to talk to Congress. Okay.
And given standing ovations for doing so.
And we are supposed to be fear mongering this person who has no fucking control over anything. Nothing. He's just a fucking person. That's all.
No, I wish that we could just get rid of this lesser of two evil argument altogether now. I'm over it, because I'm sick and tired of every election since LBJ being, you got to vote for this person because this other person is too dangerous to allow to have this position. I mean, this has been going on for twice the length of my lifetime. And they just Democrats keep falling for it. They just keep falling for it. And to be fair, the Republicans are using the exact same playbook against their own people and saying, you have to vote for Trump. You don't want Joe Biden or Kamala Harris to win, do you? Same exact playbook.
I think the difference with Republicans is they aren't manipulative like the Dems are, and they don't use identity politics like the Dems do.
Well, they use identity politics as a negative, which I find hilarious.
Right.
Because
remember how, like, when Bernie was running both times, all the shitlibs were like, "We don't need another old white man. Oh, Tim Walz is the best ever, king."
or the ageism of Bernie Sanders is too old to be president, you guys. That's why we have to vote for Hillary 4 years later. Let's pick the oldest white man we've ever seen.
Yeah, who's literally 8 months different than Bernie. And Bernie still, say what you want about him, he still has his fucking faculties, for fuck's sake.
Yes, he does. He can still speak sentences. It's amazing.
They're not good sentences, but he's coherent.
He likes to pretend that he's still doing the good, but I don't know, man. I don't know.
Nah, man, don't even get me started on that. I shouldn't have even brought it up, because now I'm like, okay, listen.
You flip my Bernie trigger, okay? You flip my Bernie trigger.
Yeah, Bernie trigger, man. Bernie trigger.
This episode needs a trigger warning. Mentions Bernie Sanders.
Yeah. The BS. Don't mention the BS, because it's going down.
Don't mention the BS.
So we want to talk about this thing that's, very nice and, utopian, very nice in theory, but let's talk about that thing called free speech.
Yeah, I wanted to bring up, I call this segment Freedom of Speech Dead Zones. And we're going to talk about the Telegram of CEO being arrested, but we also want to talk about NYU's ban on protesting Zionism both on and off campuses. Off campus for their students. So first and foremost, as you heard, the Telegram CEO was arrested. He's being arrested, and again, I'm trying to understand like the logic of this. It's like the same kind of logic that they were able to bust the Silk Road guy on. But at the end of the day, I don't fully see it, because you could then use the same logic against all of the CEOs of all of the social media companies, which is, hey, you gave a platform for people to say and do things that are illegal. And it's like, yeah, that's the internet. Right. And again, I'm not necessarily trying to fully defend this guy, because again, he's another fucking rich ass billionaire dude, but I'm not understanding the difference other than the fact that this guy has a Russian last name. And, like, again, what is he doing that is so like horrifying compared to what all the other social media companies are doing? I don't see the maybe you can throw some insight in. I don't know.
Well, the thing I always think of is around election time, especially as we get closer, you will always see that deflection. You will always notice these shiny objects. What is happening absolutely in my mind is they are, arresting someone who does sound Russian. And it's very much to put fear into people of 2016. These, these Russians have these secret platforms, and people can say whatever they want. And it could be things that are completely illegal and it's unsafe. The same people that are cool with someone having a server in their basement and beating their illegal Blackberries with phones or with hammers and pouring hot coffee on them to get rid of them, things like that. But I think that's what this is it's just a distraction.
Well, I mean, what's impressive to me in all this is just that this guy, again, he's created a platform, and yeah, he was like Russian. I mean, I think he was like a dual citizen, I believe. And what happened, I don't know if you know the full story of this guy, but he was actually pushed out of Russia because he pissed off like Putin and the ruling elite of Russia. So he was shoved out of Russia, and he ended up then getting dual citizenship in France. And he started Telegram in France because he was censored in Russia. So this dude is from Russia, yes, but was thrown out of Russia because he was all about free speech. And now, because he followed through on that and created a social media platform for people to be able to say what they want, he now has to be arrested. I mean, the whole thing is just so confusing. And again, I don't see why they can't use this exact same argument to arrest Zuckerberg or arrest Musk or anybody else, right? I mean,
yeah,
same thing.
I think also, I keep going back to the released recording from a few months ago where the piece of shit Zionist from, what was it? It's one of those like ACLU or one of those. He stated on a recording he didn't know he was being recorded on. He stated that TikTok is going to be banned. TikTok needs to be banned because it is the number one place people are going to bash the Democrats and to talk about Palestine. And this was caught on tape. And I always think back to that. This is another thing. Telegram is like a WhatsApp and, a Signal, and mostly used for activists and for planning things and, to set up actions politically and, for economic justice, racial justice, things like that.
Exactly.
And it's used because it's not public. When you're an organizer, you are not going to go online and be like, hey, join us, blah, 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 here, and here's what we're going to do. Like, you don't do that because you're just asking for the cops to come.
Well, yeah, and then the reason that people use services like Telegram is because what they're intending to do is be able to gather and be able to speak with their people without also tagging the FBI and being like, hey, would you like to also be a part of this? Because I get that. Yeah, you got these other social media companies that, are willing to, and I noticed this. The Supreme Court, I think, has even been arguing about it. It's like, oh, does the law enforcement have the right to subpoena every social media company for everything? And they're like, no. But you can, as police, buy all of their private data that they're collecting, which is the same thing. So what they're saying is like, yes, Facebook, yes, Twitter or whatever else. If you say things on these platforms, all that information will ultimately be routed to the government because they pay for it. It's a payable service. Instead of having to violate your constitutional rights, they got around it because you signed a term of service agreement.
Right. Absolutely. Wow.
So. But yeah, speaking of Zionist pieces of shit, segue. By the way, you can't say that anymore if you're an NYU student. That is now considered a bannable offense at NYU. Yes, because free speech has reached the point where a racist political ideology that supports an ethno-state committing a literal genocide is now the same thing as being born black or gay.
Yes.
Same protected status. I mean, what in the hell is going on? Like, who's next? Like, what would should there be like a special exemption at NYU for, I don't know, like Proud Boys? Shouldn't Proud Boys have their racist political ideology supported by aren't we? What if they're Proud Boy students and they deserve to be mistreated for their views? It's like, no, dude, you obviously don't give special protections to idiotic little like groups like this because that's not how this works. Yes, by the way, they already have protections because if you're a Jewish student, you cannot be targeted for being Jewish. And there it is. Same protections that a Palestinian student has. You can't be targeted for being Palestinian because it says so, because you're a protected nationality group on campus. So what the hell is this Zionist stuff? I don't know. This stuff definitely gets me triggered too.
I think one of the things I thought of initially was, how like so many professors have been getting fired and being forced to resign and stuff like that. Yeah. I think that they are sick of their faculty getting exposed and, making it, illegal for them to call, some of them call their professors Zionists because they won't let them discuss Palestine in class because they are told to take off their keffiyeh, you name it. And that is bad for business.
Well, school's starting up really soon. We're going to see how this all plays out. I have a feeling that the protests we saw before the summertime are going to be pale in comparison to what we're going to see coming forward. Because now these schools are saying, oh, hey, you're not even allowed. Like, what is protesting Zionism? Is holding up a sign that says Free Palestine considered anti-Zionist? Is holding up a sign that says Save Gaza considered anti-Zionist? What are the limits to this curtailing of free speech?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Oh my God. It's every fucking day. It's just madness.
Yeah, I also want to bring this up while we're in the Zionist topic, okay? So you've got IPAC and all that corruption, but then you've got the other side of it, and you've got, the Anti-Defamation League and stuff like that.
ADL, that's what I was thinking of, ADL.
Yeah, well, they're always, working in tandem, and one of the things that they did that we kind of just glazed over because it all happened before October 7th was they passed these anti-BDS laws in 30 plus American states saying that before they genocided all the Palestinians, they made laws that said you cannot cut them off. You cannot end contracts with Israel because that's somehow anti-Semitic. It's like they knew that they were going to do this genocide, and they pre-set up this legal network that prevents almost every state from actually doing anything to prevent them from doing what they're doing now.
My governor, you may have heard of him, Josh Shapiro, he created the Stand with Israel Act a few months ago, and that's what it is. If anyone in the state of Pennsylvania, any colleges, schools, what have you, adheres to any, demands or requests to do BDS against Israel, they will now receive $0 of funding. Yep. So meaning $0 from the state of Pennsylvania for your school. Zero.
Yeah. What this is it's literally Israel looking at the playbook of how South Africa was ultimately taken back once they ended the apartheid there. And they're like, so what were the steps that the world took to stop an apartheid? They did boycott and divestment and sanctions all over the world to stop South Africa from being able to make money while doing these horrible crimes against humanity. Okay, we'll just pass laws that say you can't do that now. And that's literally what they did. It's incredible. It's like they're the ones who are learning from history, and the rest of us are completely blind to it.
Some of us, literally. Don't be freaking ableist, Josh.
Sorry.
What is next on our list?
I think you wanted to talk about skunk hair lady.
Skunk hair lady. Oh, so Tulsi Gabbard, I hate to even think about her because I don't know. I feel dirty. I have been railing against her since 2019. When she started running against Bernie, I did a deep dive. and I'm like, okay, some of this shit's not adding up. You know, when I was in 2016, when I wrote Bernie in, I wrote her in as VP. I met her a few times. She was very nice, you know, and talked to me about my activism and thanked me for writing her in, things like that. And she was cool because she stepped down from DNC. And we're all like, yeah, she's awesome. But then when she started running in 2019, I started looking into her more, and I realized that she is just like an anti-LGBTQIA plus. She is completely racist, and so on. So I've been posting since 2019. You can look at my Twitter and search it. I've been saying since 2019, she is going to run as Trump's VP. She is going to endorse Trump. Like, I've been saying this shit for 5 fucking years. And then what happened? Well, the other day she endorsed Trump. But before that, she was saying, I would be honored to be his vice commander in chief. And she was actually campaigning for the job of his vice president. And, you know, back 2 years ago, she was campaigning for some candidates that Trump endorsed, going on stage with them saying, I mean, she says the most racist shit all the time. And, you know, these things are going around with her like, oh, remember when she schooled Kamala? Okay, cool. She's still a piece of shit. Because, first of all, when she dropped in 2020, and this shit gets me so heated. When she dropped in 2020, when she made that announcement video that she was dropping, she said in that video, and I am endorsing Joe Biden. In that video, nobody had to endorse him. It wasn't even close to the election. And her so-called BFF, Bernie, was still in the motherfucking race. So for her doing that, and people who love her are like, Bernie endorsed him. And I'm like, yeah, but she wasn't in the race when he endorsed him. Don't, stop. It's not the fucking same. She ran on anti-war, aloha this, aloha that, blah, blah, blah. And then she literally endorsed a fucking warmonger in her speech where she dropped out.
Yeah.
That was fucked up. And it was predictable. Well, now, I saw her in an interview the other day, and she said, she's like, Palestine, because, she's been licking Israel's boots all over the place. And she said, Palestine has a right to be free from any oppression or from Hamas. And I was like, oh shit, you just caught yourself. You shouldn't be fucking saying this shit. So she had to call herself out and be like, oh, from Hamas.
Yeah,
it's disgusting. It's
I want to point out
aloha.
I want to point out that the thing about Tulsi Gabbard that I wish that we were a little more cognizant of back when she was playing us like a fiddle, but she is a political chameleon. She will go wherever she believes the power is. She went from progressive left to establishment pro-war left to full racist Republican in the matter of 5 years. It's incredible stuff. And I don't know. I think people need to be aware, even Republicans, be aware, be cautious. She is a political chameleon. She will go wherever the wind blows. And as soon as Trump's no longer a thing, as soon as that movement is done, she'll move on to whatever's next. It doesn't matter what it is. Guaranteed.
Yep. Absolutely. How pathetic. What do you have next?
Oh, I've saved the best for the last here, the absolute
Piece
best.
de resistance.
Yes, we are talking about, of course, RFK Jr. and the whale. Now, I don't know if our listeners have followed this story. I mean, we talked previously about RFK Jr. and the bear, where RFK Jr. found a road-killed bear and immediately thought, that looks delicious. I'd like to take it home and eat this roadkill. And so he stuffs it in his car, but then realizes, oh, I don't have time to butcher this bear. I better go stage a fake bike accident in Central Park so that people think that, I don't know, a biker killed this bear and not me hauling it around. I don't know. It was crazy the first time with the bear. It was crazy the first time. Now it's RFK Jr. and the whale. So anyways.
I still think he coitus the bear, to be clear. But anyway.
I'm certain that he did something absolutely atrocious with that bear. I'm certain of it, but I'll leave it at that. Anyways, right now, everybody wants to talk shit on RFK because he threw the Dems under the bus. He endorsed Trump. I get it. I don't care. You know, if you want to be one of the stupid people who's pro-environment, skeptical, anti-establishment, pro-free organic food for kids, and now you're like, you know, I'm going to join this climate-denying, warp speed, no tests billionaire who thinks free food is communism. I'm gonna tie my wagon to that. I don't feel for these people. If you're that stupid, I don't feel for you. No, what I want to talk about with RFK Jr. is the fact that it has come out that this dude used a chainsaw, and we were discussing, we got to use the proper language here, to surgically remove a rotting whale's head that had washed up on a beach. Okay, I'm going to read to you now. I want to read to you from this article. Now know this. I've immediately heard people popping up and being like, they're only doing this because they're trying to discredit Trump. And it's like, no, this is from a 12-year-old article, an interview with RFK Jr.'s own daughter. She came up with all this well before he was running for anything. So I'm going to read a little segment here. It says, an environmental advocacy group is calling for government officials to investigate former independent presidential candidate RFK Jr. after an interview resurfaced where his daughter said that he had sawed the head off of a dead whale in Hyannisport in 1994. His daughter, Kit Kennedy, told Crown and Country in 2012 that her father had cut off the whale's head with a chainsaw after he'd heard that it had washed up on Squaw Island. He bungee corded the whale's head to the roof of the family minivan so that they could bring it back to New York. And all right. Here's the quote from Kit Kennedy that is the most insane thing you will ever hear outside of a Hunter S. Thompson novel. Every time we accelerated on the highway, whale juice would pour into the windows of the car. It was the rankest thing on the planet. We all had plastic bags over our heads with mouth holes cut out, and people on the highway were giving us the finger, but that's just normal day-to-day stuff for us.
I can't.
How do you even respond to this? How do you even talk about this? This is pure mental, this is insane. This is the kind of thing that, if anybody else had done it, you'd be like, okay, this dude obviously has mental condition. He obviously needs professional help.
But this has a brainworm.
Brainworms, maybe. But instead, everybody's like, oh, he's the best, most honest guy ever, and I want him to be president. And it's like, what in the world are you talking about? Like, if you'd read Hunter S. Thompson had done this, you'd be like, boy, that's what I would expect on somebody who has a briefcase full of narcotics. You don't expect this from presidential candidates.
And I think it's funny that he never told his daughter, never mentioned this. She's like, hey, Dad, I went on and did an interview today. Hope you don't mind I brought up the whale. I told you never to speak of that.
Never speak of the whale head. No, I really
oh my God. What if, you know how you have moose head and stuff on the wall? What if he has
just mounted on a mounting board up in his living room? Oh God.
Oh my God. Poor whale.
I want to point out that I really do feel like that what we're seeing here, yes, I had people immediately be like, oh, well, this is because he backed Trump. And I'm like, in a sense, you're right. Because what this is this is out of his Oppo file. And this is something that the Democrats and the Republicans built because they saw that he was a real threat, because at one point he was pulling 20+%. And so they built Oppo files. They found out, what has this dude done in the past? What can we nail him with? How do we take him down? Now, when he tried to contact Kamala's campaign and be like, hey guys, political chameleon RFK Jr. here, how can I sell out my people to join your movement? They wouldn't even take his call, because they saw things like this and said, we can't defend this. This is crazy. This is indefensible. We'll have to spend all our time running cover for this nutbag if we bring him under our tent.
Yeah.
So they wouldn't even take his calls, right? Well, guess what? The Republicans saw this same Oppo file and they were like, we'll take it. We'll take it. I'm amazed.
But you know what's funny? Like, there's all these clips of Trump being like, oh, you know, he is the farthest left wing candidate that's running and stuff like that. It's like, oh my God. And he trashes him and stuff. And he's like, oh, I'm honored he, you know,
it's like a 20-minute rant of him just shredding RFK Jr. He's such a communist. He's like 1,000 Bernie Sanders wrapped into one. I mean, he's just shreds him for 20 straight minutes. And now RFK is like, how can I better attach my lips to your big orange backside, sir? I mean,
well, it's kind of like JD Vance. I mean, he literally called Trump like Satan and Hitler.
He called him Hitler. He literally called him Hitler.
And then he's like, beer VP? Hell yeah, dude.
Hell yeah. Man, I could totally see that for myself, you know? Like, one day I'm like, hey, I don't like this Hitler guy. And then Hitler gave me a call. And I'm like, okay, maybe he's got some good things. I don't know. I guess I'll be Hitler's VP. Why not?
Yeah, I mean, you know, honestly, I've been looking for a job like crazy. And if Trump asked me to be VP, I don't know, man. I don't know. I mean, I am white. Maybe he'd be like, yo, you got the disability punk rock vote. Come on,
you know what it is? It's Trump being like, wait a minute, why is Kamala Harris running a full far right like super war campaign against me? Maybe I should go to her left and I'll get a VP who has blue hair, and I'll show them. I'm bringing the left. Like, at this point, nothing would surprise me. Nothing would surprise me.
Hello, fellow kids. How are you? How do you do, fellow kids? Hi, the old man.
Hello, fellow leftists. Have you seen the color of my vice president's hair?
She has nuts and bolts in her face. And she has tattoos. She is very radical, and that is how I represent. Thank you.
Oh man. I really do feel like I live in the Twilight Zone. Just this election has flipped everything. Hey, but you know, look at the bright side. If you're a Republican, you win. If you're a Republican in America, you win. You win. You get everything you wanted. You spun the wheel and you landed on the $100. You get it all. I mean, congratulations to you.
Yep. And I mean, you know, don't worry. Don't worry about abortion. It's never going to come into play. She's been VP for 4 years and it's still illegal in multiple states. So, I mean, if that's your one concern about her winning is making abortion legal, you do not have to worry.
Yeah. I mean, thank God that I can finally vote for all of the insanely racist, super xenophobic, incredibly right-wing policies that I've always wanted to without revealing myself to be a racist misogynist. Thank God. Thank you, Kamala. Thank you. You've helped me embrace my inner hater. And now I can finally do the damage that I want to immigrants and also feel good about myself. Thank you.
Yeah. It's instead of people know me by saying that's bananas like 24/7. I say it all the time, but I need to start saying that's coconuts because that's what her yes queen people say. Did you just fall out of a coconut tree?
Okay. Now we're at the end of the show, and first, I guess we have to do the Grand Marshal. Who's our Grand Marshal? Who is
You know,
leading the death parade off the cliff this week?
I don't know, man. There's just so many. I don't want to say Kamala and be so trite, but I feel like it's her this week.
I mean, she's done wonders, man. She's got the xenophobe movement more excited than it's ever been. You know, like xenophobia is finally feeling the joy, and this is great.
Oh, you know what? Don't get me started on that shit. Leave me out of it.
Well,
like,
that's
fucking this radical joy and warrior joy and all this shit. Bitch, shut the fuck up.
Well, this leads us to our closing song of the day, which I think is Joy.
Pump it up and pain. Keep it going now. Sunshine and rain.
One more time. Joy. No, seriously, it's the weirdest thing, but you should be happy that your name is in the mouth of every far right Democrat, because you can now like clip all of those voices together into a promo. So it could just be you being like, and now Joy Marie Mann, joy, 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 joy. You get all of them, all of them.
All I know is it's really disturbing to hear the words joy in the mouth of every right-wing Democrat.
Yeah.
That sounded really weird. And I have to go take a bath.
I try not to think about things in the mouths of every Democrat. I try not to, but.
Well, you know me. Thank you so much for joining me, Josh. Thanks for listening, everyone.
Yes.
Tomorrow night, I have a show, so tune in. Hopefully this will go up tonight. Please follow me on my YouTube. Also share. Follow me on TikTok, please. I do a lot of different videos there, and my Substack. Josh?
Yeah, I'm almost there. I'm the slowest of all tortoises, but I started my Twitch page today, so come find me. It's the Rip and Rant on Twitch. And soon I will be expanding this to other platforms as well, but it begins. Come find me.
Come at me, y'all. Come outside. Come outside. Come outside, y'all. Oh, hell to the no. You know who I am. Come outside.
Careful. She's full of joy, everyone.
Oh, I hate my name. As I said when I was at doing a comedy show, I said, you know what? People try to be like, you know, oh, you don't fit your name. And I'm like, I didn't fucking name myself. They didn't know I was a bitch when they named me. Don't blame me. Tell my mom.
That's right, folks. Send all of your angry letters to Joy's mom.
Yeah. That'd be nice. All right, guys. Thanks so much. Much love.
All right. I'm Josh Radio Hedge.
And I am Joy Marie Mann.
And we'll see you guys next time here on the Capitalist Death Parade.